cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto. Hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent. And it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots. If I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto. Hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent. And it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots. If I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate, bitch, you can fucking fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself and my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me.
It said there were a few people here, and then there's nobody. What am I gonna do?
Every chance I get, I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent. And it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots. If I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall.
Oh my god. What the F is up? Sad day in my world. No, not really. Well, not any more than normal. We'll start off, since it says there's 0 people here. I'll just start talking for a minute before I get into the chapter, but I'll get into the chapter in a second anyway, because maybe somebody will watch this afterwards or something like that. Who knows? You know, get about 12 views a video or something, or 4. It's like the original YouTube. Actually, I think I was getting more views back then when I first started on YouTube. Mainly because you could make like video replies to people. And also back then people subscribed. Like it was all new, so if they wanted to listen to you, they listened to you. I don't know. That's life. It sucks. Then you die. These are the facts, kids. I don't know, like, I thought One Piece was more popular than ever. But yeah, it's not working like it was, yo. It's the days of the old when shit wasn't good no more. Damn. You never know when this might be the last YouTube video by me. Like, I would think that bring in the people. I guess. I guess nobody cares. I'm just kidding. Fuck it. It is what it is. Alright, well, since there's 0 people here, we'll just talk to 0 people. I talk to myself all the time anyway, so it's not a big deal. Alright, let's get into it. What the fuck? I got this shit set up wrong. I got it on the wrong fucking window. Bullshit. Look at me. Alright, there we go. Should be working now. Alright, looks good. Alright, what we're here to talk about today is One Piece. Is chapter number 1063. It's crazy how many chapters of One Piece there are, isn't there? But it's still not even like number 1. Like, I think Detective Conan or fucking, what's the other one that's got a lot? There's another one that's got like, Ippo, Hajime no Ippo. That's got like a fuckload of chapters too. So, the chapter is titled, The Only Family I've Got. Do. We kind of get some confirmation, or pretty confirmed, I'd say. It seems like Aokiji has been the one. Pudding's been kidnapped. Because who else has these ice powers that we know of? You know? So it seems like maybe, I know we all think he's working for Blackbeard, or he is kind of working for Blackbeard. So he is showing up to Whole Cake Island. I don't remember which specific island this is. You know, the Big Mom's territory. It has froze Cracker. Cracker looks like he's easily defeated. Brulee is still there. I don't know why she isn't frozen, but whatevs. And then we get that Puddin has been kidnapped. It's still calling it Germa 66's Cold-Blooded Voyage. So, is it possible that it was Germa that did it? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And especially when we get into the chapter later on here, it doesn't seem like that's gonna make any sense also. But yeah, so let's get back into it. Kind of starts off where we last ended. Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper all got full, eating the food. The Vegapunk Atlas. Still don't know, is it a girl? Is it a full-on robot? I don't know. Seems like she's kind of changed her. Maybe she's one of those, she'll get violent, but she's not like, because she seems to be kind of cheery here. And says everybody's fat, and then Jinbei's like, mine's always been like that. Find out they have like little robot dogs that run around and they're the recycling. We see people wandering around, and Bonnie seems to think that they are like lab assistants. Who knows? This is not confirmed. We find Luffy. We get the new clothing upgrade for this chapter. I mean, for this arc. Look at these shoes right here. Because apparently the thing that gives out food can give off clothes. Like I said, which also leads me back to, it's similar. Obviously, it's not the exact same technology, but it reminds me of Star Trek Next Generation, where they started with the replicators, because they could replicate food, clothes, parts, all kinds of shit. So I don't know how far this thing goes, but it's got these clothes. So then Bonnie gets it. I'm sure a lot of perverts out there are going to be like, look at this. She got a battle uniform. So I wonder if that adds any... They talk about it being light. Like, I wonder if these boots are something like that. Or if it's going to be anything like the Germa suits. Maybe we'll even get another Sanji upgrade. Maybe he'd be willing to do... He doesn't want to use Germa technology, but maybe if, like, Usopp or even Vegapunk or somebody decides to make him, like, a Vegapunk raid suit or something like that, maybe. It seems like they all got, like, little earphone pieces so they can talk to each other, so that's going to be a plus here. Bonnie looks totally different from one to the next now. Chopper seems to be excited. We get some of Luffy. I don't know who says it's Kuma. And then Luffy's like Puma. I don't remember. Did he always get his name wrong? I know he knows who he is, but you know Luffy's always bad about names, so maybe that's that. So we get another, and obviously we know this isn't the real Kuma for many reasons, but we also know because he is on Kambaka Kingdom or was with the revolutionaries that they had rescued him, but he's in a different look because he's got like police, and so he's like a I guess he's like maybe I wonder if this is like an early version pacifista or if it's like a retired pacifista, you know. I wonder how much also because they're like cyborgs, they're still kind of human, so they're not full on robots, but like how much of them are anything there that they decide on their own, or if it's all like pre-programmed shit. Like I don't know how much of that because we know they can because apparently that's what Kuma had done, so he would be like under complete control by the world government, like after the time skip or whatever. I guess this is showing Luffy's using his future sight because he's talking about he's going to charge. So I wonder, is future sight like? Because remember the first time we really learned about Haki when it was Mantra on Skypiea, it seemed like it was them. Was it seeing the future or them knowing? Because Luffy, or maybe there's different levels of it because NL was it seemed like when Luffy did the whole thing where he just didn't know what he was going to do, so it was more like mind reading what they were going to do. But like Luffy seems like he can predict the future, so does it have to be that he could predict any kind of future? Like if he knew like a rocket was coming and it wasn't like shot, like could he see that, or does it have to be from a person? Is he like reading the person's intentions? I'm still not 100% sure how that works. That seems like what he says he's going to charge, to be ready. And then he shoots off. He's got the laser beam coming out of his mouth like all the other pacifistas we've seen. Could the original Kuma do that, or is it only the pacifistas? I can't remember. I don't know if the original Kuma needed it, because the original Kuma had the pawpaw. That's how we always know if it's not the real Kuma, is if he doesn't have the pawpaw fruit, devil fruit. Which I still, to this day, for what it's called and what it looks like, Oda definitely was very, 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 very creative with how he could use that. That's one thing I'll say, like, even if Oda busts out some, like, already established, like, you know, maybe things, superpowers that we know of that, like, other superheroes have, or maybe even other manga people had, Oda's always been really, really creative about it. So that's one good thing. So that was a really creative power, and it did a lot of stuff you didn't even think about. Especially when it was able to take all the damage out of Luffy, and then it like shot him across like half the world and all that shit. So like always very creative with how Oda does all his powers and the devil fruit. So that's really cool. And Luffy's like, we got to stop him, but Bonnie's like, no, and she stops Luffy. These things that always happen are always weird to me, because Luffy's supposed to be getting up to a level where he's so badass that like these other people are not on his level. It's like when people try to attack Whitebeard, except for Squad, like he could just see past it and he wasn't ever worried. Or like what he did with Ace, he was always seeing everything. Maybe in this instance, Luffy just couldn't. Maybe he saw it, but he couldn't do nothing with it. Or maybe Luffy hasn't got to that. He can do it, but it's not like fleshed out. Like maybe it's not 100% of the time yet. Maybe that's the difference here. But she's like, stop, you know. But Luffy's smart. He's like, yeah, we can't just let him kill us. Like that laser beam, we got to do something. Because last time Luffy fought a pacifista, I mean, he took it out in like one hit when it was when they had to come back to the Shibundi archipelago. So, and then yeah, this Kuma, he can shoot the lasers out of his hands and his mouth. And he's like, Bonnie, what's up? What, I got to do something? And then she's like, that's my father. And then they're all like, oh, because I guess she didn't tell them specifically, and they weren't thinking, you know, like, because I guess they already have a kind of a cyborg, so they imagine there's a lot more cyborgs in the world, because, you know, we only really thought about Kuma at one point or another, except for kind of Frankie. Yeah, so they're all kind of figuring out that she was talking about Kuma, even though we already knew this from last chapter. Now everybody else knows. I guess Oda could have just done it that way. Well, I wonder why he wanted us to see it, but not them at first. But then he did reveal it the next chapter. It seemed like he could have just done it this way and not had two different chapters about it. Or, this is just a thought, like, on the process of it. Like, I got it if, like, maybe they mentioned it and they didn't know for a long time. It might be more of a shock. But since he revealed it so quickly, it seems like a weird way of doing it. He could have just done it this way, and then they would have known and we would have known all at the same time. And then she's like, please don't hurt my daddy. We get like a little, I'm assuming we're going to get some, I don't know if it's going to come soon or not. Um, It'll probably be Oda. We'll probably be in the middle of something going on and we'll get the complete flashback. But I'm sure we're going to get a Bonnie flashback. Maybe flesh out all this stuff with her and Kuma. Learn things like that. I don't know. Like, cause I'm still not giving up on my theory that I don't remember what her age is, and even if we do know her age, it could still be Oda could fuck with it. That she is still Goldie Roger's daughter and sister to Ace because of that whole thing with when Rouge was having Ace. She mentioned if it was a girl, we're gonna name it Anne. If it's a boy, we're gonna name it Ace. And I will still to this day, Oda could just be fucking with us, right? But a lot of times when Oda throws some little small detail out there, it comes back on us long time later. That's my argument here. And Bonnie is based off of the pirate and Bonnie, so that's where I get all that from, right? And then of course that would mean she's not Anne Bonnie when her name comes out. It would be Anne D Rouge or Portgas D Anne or Gold D Anne or whatever like that. So that's my main thing, because I just don't know how Oda is about this stuff, that he would not have some ulterior motive. Like, why would he do that? Could it be a red herring? I guess. But that's my one crazy theory, and that's that's why I have that in my mind. Also, the world government wants her. Blackbeard fought her and captured her, kind of like he did Ace, gave her over to the world government, kind of like he did Ace. Like, I know it's a little bit different, but there's a little bit of parallels there. Like, I just see that is something will that is something Oda has planned out here, and that's how I kind of see it. And I'll still stick with that. Even now, if that's her dad, that doesn't mean shit, because maybe he gave them to the revolutionaries or something like that, or Kuma always wanted a kid, couldn't have a kid, or X, Y, or Z. Who knows? There's a lot of things that this could come back from. Nothing. And now, if it's never revealed, obviously, like, if it doesn't come out, like, by the end of this section with Bonnie, then I guess my theory will be kind of debunked overall. But not 100%. I'll just be 99% sure that it's debunked. If nothing comes out now about her, then yeah. Because I think this will be the time, if that is his plan, he would reveal it here and possibly a flashback or something. And I don't know how exactly he'll go about that. But like sometimes he'll do a flashback from somebody's memory, but then also have a flashback from what really happened or something that happened that's outside her memory. But then also maybe he could swap over to Kuma and Kuma have the flashback when he hears something about it, or like when they maybe they'll get back together, maybe they'll fix Kuma, or she'll be able to get this is my prediction. They're going to get Vegapunk. She's going to either, I don't know if she's going to threaten him, they're going to save him, whatever's going to happen by the end of this, and he's going to agree. What up? Oh, my crazy theory is Anne is the kid of Goldie Roger. Because when Garp, in that flashback, when Garp went to pick up Ace, she mentioned when she was having him, she said that Anne, if it's a girl, and Ace, if it's a boy, and she's based off a pirate, Anne Bonny, and that's just kind of where I came from. That's my crazy theory. Like, I'm not 100% sure that it's true, but I'll believe it. It's like the only crazy theory like I believe. There's a lot of crazy theories, and some of them make sense. But I don't necessarily wholeheartedly give. That's like the one, and in my head, I don't know if I've seen this anywhere else before, and so I think I came up with it. Yeah, because what I was saying was that Oda, why would he have put that in there? Like, why would he have mentioned if it's a girl, its name is Ace, or if it's a girl, we're gonna name it Anne? Like, it seems strange to me, right? And then, of course, now we're throwing out, she's saying Kuma's her dad, but that doesn't mean shit. Because if it was a child of Goldie Roger, it would have had to been protected some way. and who knows, we might get a flashback of it. So it's a really, because if he was going to protect her from the world government, like, yeah, he took Ace, left him on that island with Dedan. Maybe he took her to Dragon or something because he knew like they were so against the world government. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm not 100% sure on is the age. I didn't ever look that up. I guess I could have. It has listed that they have different. I was gonna make a video about it, but then I decided not to. Uh, and I'd worked on some of it. Uh, where um where her birthday and Ace's birthday are not the same birthday, but like the way it was worded was like, oh, I think her birthday should be this, and like an SBS, and Otis said, oh, that makes sense because in Japanese, like a lot of names or something have significances. They equate to numbers or something. So, but they were both born on the first of the month. I think one of them is September and one of them is January. I can't remember which is which. True. Because yeah, I know other crazy theories was that she was really like an old lady. So, but that kind of goes out of mind. But like I haven't seen that theory, at least not prevalent. So that's why I'm claiming it as an original by me. Not to say nobody else has had it, but I can't say that I took it from anybody or anything like that. So that's mine, and then also like, Blackbeard captured Ace and handed him over to the world government. Well, and at one point, remember, Blackbeard captured Bonnie too and handed her over to the world government as well. So they have that kind of those similar things, right? And I'm not saying she even knows this to be true. She might not know it, but then she was also crying during the war. Was it because she's seen Kuma there? Because that before that, I was wondering if that had something to do with it, seeing Ace, being captured. But then it also her seeing Kuma not being himself anymore could be the answer also. But like I said, that's my crazy theory of it. I think it would be interesting. I don't know what it would do. It might elevate her into because she's been kind of shown, but she hasn't been like a major player in the story. Definitely not like Law, and then Kid, and we still have Uruj, who we haven't seen shit from him. He's the only Supernova that we haven't had really anything about. Like we don't know his devil fruit if he has one. I mean, most people assume he does, but we don't know anything about him. We kind of know about Apu, and we know Drake. We didn't really. I'm also unsure if we'll ever get more about Apu because we still never really got his backstory, like before. Where we've kind of got Drake's backstory because we kind of got that intermingled with Law's backstory. We also got. We didn't really get Beiji's backstory much, I don't believe, but he was involved with the story for quite a while. We learned about his devil fruit, his abilities, stuff like that. Killer kind of goes with Kid, and we kind of got some of his stuff, but we didn't get like 100% backstory. But we didn't really got 100% Kid backstory either. So I'm assuming Luffy and Kid will meet up again, and that might be where we get like his flashback eventually. That's kind of what I see it. Yeah, yeah. I was gonna talk to that. I was gonna talk about that when I got to the chapter, or at least ideas and stuff. And some of the stuff when I've read stuff, that's what I used to when I was doing the reviews all the time. A lot of times I didn't watch other reviewers, not because I didn't like them or didn't think they were good or anything. I just didn't want to ever be like. Sometimes subconsciously you will like watch somebody and they might say something and then like I'll say the same thing like and then throw it in there like it's my own. I never wanted to come across that way. So back then I didn't really watch other people when they reviewed stuff. I did used to go and just look for crazy theories that like I thought were just crazy. Some make sense if I got them from somewhere else. I usually try to admit like, hey, this isn't my crazy theory. I think at one point I was actually doing screenshots and like saying where I found them and stuff because I found because if you don't know the whole world of between especially One Piece and like Reddit people, like the Reddit people on like the One Piece Reddits, they hate a lot of the YouTube like reviewers because they say a lot of them just take their theories and stuff like that and then just put them in video and never give them any kind of credit. That's just never been something that I really wanted to do. Like, it's possible that I could have read something and then thought it, but I've tried not to ever give something off as a, God damn it, as a theory that I came up with on my own if I knew for a fact that's not the case. Because a lot of times I'd be very vague and I'd say I read somewhere or something like that. I didn't necessarily give 100% credit, but a lot of times there's like pages. I used to go on Arlong Park back in the days where I went. Lately I've just been using One Piece Reddit because it's so big. I know sometimes they would write, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody, there's going to be some overlap and shit. I mean, like, if you're talking about this, some people are probably going to come to the same conclusions or have similar ideas on something. It's like, you know, two people invented calculus back in the day, basically, like, separate of one another just because it was something that was going to come out. So, but I never wanted to be the person that, like, straight parodied or, like you said, like, straight copied somebody else's. That's not a good look, you know? But yeah, like, I just read through so many, I couldn't remember every, like, so-and-so said this, some, you know, one person on Reddit said X. Like, sometimes they'll have, like, a big giant Reddit thread about, like, this is a theory. I think that's a lot of the times they would get mad at some of the other One Piece people on YouTube because they would be, just straight up stealing it from, like, a big thread from somebody that went and, like, wrote out, like, a big, long, you know, like, I've seen them, like, paragraphs of, like, really convoluted, like, theories. And I don't know if some of those people, like, directly said, ooh, this is my theory, or they just said, this is a theory. But a lot of people just didn't like the idea that they're getting their thing off of them completely. You know what I'm saying? Now, you can be inspired by something. That happens to all kinds of people from all kinds of things, you know? All right. But then it's basically, we all know this isn't Kuma. And then, like, I guess it shoots that, and, like, it looks like it's pretty devastating to the island here. So I wonder how much, because they're also talking about, like, this thing doesn't, like, we stole some clothes and food, and it's going to, like, destroy half the fucking island to stop us. That seems a little bit overboard, right? And this is actually, this is what surprised me the most about this chapter, is this right here. I did not expect Oda to jump to somewhere else, and definitely didn't necessarily expect him to jump to somewhere else right away with Blackbeard again, and a Blackbeard's attacking Law, and then we get this right here. You know, this is like the wet dream for a ton of fucking people online. Oh, you got the gender swapped Law, and then I guess even Beppo has too, because they got kind of like rosy cheeks, and it looks like they got like a girl hair or whatever on the back. And then we come to find out, you know, it can't affect the other ones, right? So that's kind of crazy. The funny thing is, it's kind of like we find out, we also find this out. This is also kind of like a weird. Yeah, I was talking about that too before you got here. I was saying the same thing. It is kind of weird because I compared it to Whitebeard because he was kind of doing it. Because he was kind of like Ace was attacking him. He had no problems. Like when he was asleep. My only thing was like maybe Luffy. You know, he has the future sight. He even kind of used it here. Maybe his, you know, his like that kind of hockey is still. He still doesn't have it as fine tuned yet. So at times, like if he's in the middle of something else, he doesn't necessarily have. It's not so good that he can see everything at once. You know. That's kind of how I see it as a possibility. It does still seem kind of. It's kind of like the chapter before that robot girl punched him and knocked him for a loop, you know? Like, that shouldn't have happened either. So, I don't know, you know. But then it's also, like, some of this has just got to be, you know, like, Oda. It's like I can imagine it's a hard balancing act to make Luffy look so badass. But then also Luffy has to kind of, like, there has to be something that goes in there. So I don't know 100%. I don't know the best way to write it. But here, yeah, we kind of learn that with a strong enough Haki, you can kind of overdo. I mean, that's possible too. But I mean, I just maybe he doesn't know any other way to write Luffy except for like he kind of gets beat down and comes back. That's kind of like his deal. Like you got to look at like even in Dragon Ball, like, but usually in Dragon Ball somebody would come out and they would be stronger, so and they might be Goku down for a while and has to fight back. Like so, I guess he has to kind of always have that in there somewhere. I don't know. I just like I said, my explanation of it still sticks. Is Luffy's good and great. He just still hasn't mastered everything, so that's why they're gonna have moments like this. But then we kind of learned this are like a hockey, like you can kind of. This is kind of a little bit different than what we knew about hockey before. But I guess it also means that like now maybe Luffy wouldn't be able to get what was that dude the one with the he could shoot out the where he could pause them. I can't think of his damn name off the top of my head. Foxy. Maybe now Luffy wouldn't be affected by the pause, or he could stop it with his hockey. So I guess there's been a little bit of hints, but this is kind of like the first time we've seen somebody. Like, would that mean if Luffy got turned into a toy now, like he would be able to like break that? You know, which actually is kind of cool that this exists because a lot of powers seem so OP that like you're like you can never do nothing against it. But so Law, and I wonder if Law is able to turn back other people. Like I don't know, he could probably do it using his own fruit. I would imagine if it's a disease. Yeah, I mean he kind of has. I mean it's kind of like I said, it's just so hard. He's got to have some sort of struggle. I think that's just the downside to it. What was I saying before that? Yeah, so I wonder if Law can use his hockey to stop like other people from getting sick. Because what if they created like another kind of disease? Like, why wouldn't he have just gave them like fucking like a bubonic plague or some shit like that where they would die automatically? Yeah, I read some people thought that was a possibility, but then maybe that's another reason Oda came up with this because he also knows he kind of OP'd Law in a lot of ways. So maybe then like somebody like because remember Law, I think he tried to teleport Big Mom and Kaido and Wano, and he was unable to move them, right? So like maybe Blackbeard has strong enough hockey that he couldn't do that to him. Like I don't know about the rest of the crew or whatever. So he's always got that's the downside of making all these rules and powers. Like you have to have a little bit of a counter to some of them, or like nobody be able to stand up to anybody else. Did he move? I thought he moved Sanji from getting kicked by Doflamingo. But I mean, also it's also going to be based on your power level. Like I don't know, there's always a little bit of that's the only little bit of inconsistencies. He may have. I can't remember if he did move Doflamingo. There's that's the only downside. Like there's always going to be a little bit of plot holes and inconsistencies. Yeah, that's also another thing, right? I agree with that. That's a possibility. And then like Law had because I was thinking like, well, Law wasn't able to take out fucking Doflamingo a while back, so how's he gonna be able to take out Blackbeard? But as we know, like everybody kind of gets stronger, and they just fought like some of the most strong opponents in the entire world recently. So Law being stronger than he was now makes more sense. So like if he was able, and then Doflamingo was so many years advanced from him that like the Law, Luffy, their potential is a lot higher because they still have more room to grow. I think that's where it's going to make up for like where they could have You know, where like sometimes they plateau. Like Luffy, Law, and even Kid haven't plateaued yet. So uh, they get all that. This part's really cool because we get to learn a lot about some of Blackbeard's crew. Not all of them, but he brings Jesus Burgess. I wonder if it's pronounced Jesus or if it's Jesus. Honestly, because you know he wears like the lucha mask, like kind of like wrestling thing. So I don't know if he's meant to be like based off of like a Mexican wrestler, like a luchador. So it should be like Jesus Burgess, or if it should just be pronounced Jesus Burgess. I don't even. I haven't watched the anime in a long time, so I don't know how they pronounce it in the anime. And then we seen Von Auger. We haven't seen him in a while. We or even Doc Q, right? Because Burgess had been around. You know, he was fighting against Ace and all that. Some of it. But we kind of find out, and we're assuming that they didn't have these abilities before, and these are things that they picked up over the last 2 years or whatever since the time skip. Doc Q has the sick fruit, which makes sense because while he's a doctor, he's never. Because remember, he used to try to like poison people. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it's like at points it can be. Sorry, this for some reason lately YouTube sometimes the comments aren't showing up in the YouTube chat. I think Hacky is going to be like that because I mean we're all pretty. I think most people kind of think or are pretty sure that Shanks doesn't have a devil fruit, and it seems like Roger didn't, and it seems like Rayleigh doesn't. Rayleigh doesn't because he was swimming, but like there's always a possibility Oda could give Roger a devil fruit, but it seems like that wasn't what was important. So, and if Roger and a lot of those are able to be as strong as they were, hockey definitely has to be the main contributing factor to who makes the strongest. Luffy just happened to get like a little bit of a step above since he has that devil fruit, right? Plus, it's most likely Garp doesn't have one either. But I mean, that's also kind of a setting up for Blackbeard too. Like Blackbeard may be relying, and even that's kind of funny because he even said that to Ace. He's like, people are relying too much on their devil fruit powers. Also, I think Crocodile said that as well. Um, so like that might be a downside to Blackbeard and his whole devil fruit crew. Because I guess by now we would really think that they all have devil fruits. Because let's see, Doc Q. I don't know if I can't remember the giant dude. I can't think his name. I don't know if he got revealed that he had one or not. I could be wrong, but I know Katarina Devon does. I don't. Did they reveal Basco Shot had one? Uh, I think a lot of people thought Lafitte might have had one before the time skip because he like had the wings on his back thing and he flew up there. Now we know Doc Q does. Von Auger, even the horse has one. Sam Wolf, yeah, okay, thank you. Uh, and we know for a fact Burgess has one too. Um, the thing is, I wonder, did Burgess get this buff, or I've seen other translations where they say strength, or strong fruit. Like, cause remember he was doing like crazy shit like this before. Did he have the fruit then or not? A lot of people are gonna say no because he went after Ace's fruit, so he probably did not. So he probably got this afterwards. So I would probably lean on that. But he probably was like, this was a good fit for him because this is kind of things he already did. So he wouldn't necessarily have to change up his style of something. You know what I'm saying? Oh, was he? Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. He fell off the thing, right? Okay. That gives another reason why he wouldn't have had one. But I think it's a good fit for him. I wonder what the limit of it is, or if it has any other abilities, like just being strong. Is it making him more, you know, able to take more damage? Also, you know, or if it's just like a pure power up or whatever. Von Augers is kind of cool too. He's got the warp fruit where he can like teleport people, and I'm assuming he can teleport himself. Oh, it's okay. Well, I knew what you're talking about, so it's cool if you didn't. But so it's kind of cool. He can teleport himself and he can teleport people. So it's kind of like a little bit like a law ability. I just wonder if he has like a range on it, like how far he can teleport or a size he can teleport. Because you know, Law has to do the room, or he can't use any of his powers if he doesn't set up the room first. So it seems like that's one perk to Von Auger, so he doesn't have to have that idea, you know. And then it's kind of crazy. He's a sniper. Could he shoot a bullet and like teleport it to the target, or would it be like he's a sniper and he's just good at that, and he could just move around so he doesn't get him pinpointed from where he's shooting from. So that's going to be kind of tough. Yeah, Sabo wrecked Bird just before, so even Law's like, what the fuck? They got all this shit. So I mean, they're OP right now with powers. You know what I'm saying? And then we get Blackbeard riding in on. It's funny because he's riding on the horse, but he's like just like whatever. Stronger's barely able to go with him. And then another thing, we know Law, the more he uses his power, it kind of takes its toll on him. So I wonder if there are any side effects to the other people using their powers. And then we kind of find that, you know, we know Blackbeard was looking for Devil Fruit abilities before, right? So would he also be interested in having Law's ability? Because it's a pretty OP ability, right? Like even if like, because a lot of people are arguing like, well, he's already got a doctor and he has a Devil Fruit, so who can he give it to? Well, hell, if he could find anybody else and give it to him, that could be useful to them, right? Like even if he adds like somebody down lower on the totem pole, it would not be, you know, disadvantage to have another OP Devil Fruit. Also, a lot of people are bringing up, does Blackbeard know about the immortality surgery like Doflamingo does? So that would be another option, because you would think somebody like him would want that. Oh, I don't know who wrote this. Like I said earlier, I did read a crazy theory. Somebody has the idea that Blackbeard has Zebek rocks, Zebek D rocks, or rocks D Zebek, I can't remember which way it goes, has his corpse, and the reason he wanted Gecko Moria was either so he could put a shadow in him, and then now he could take Law and be able to revive him. That was somebody's crazy theory that I read. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of. It wouldn't be a bad thing to have, even if he didn't steal it, even if he was able to take it. Yeah, that's just one I remember from somebody. And like I said, not my crazy theory per se, but something I read on Reddit from somebody on the thread was the idea that they might have had. Because a lot of people are linking Blackbeard to Zebek. But then also, Blackbeard, he mentioned specifically that he wants the road poneglyph rubbings. And now we know Law has definitely got one from Wano. Does he also have the one from Zhao and the one from Big Mom too? Or does he only have the one from Wano? That's what I'm unsure of. And I mean, he could have all three of those. And then Law seems to think like, well, maybe you have some too, so I could take yours. But does Blackbeard have any? I don't know. Because Blackbeard, a lot of people pointed it out, and I agree 100%. Blackbeard is an opportunist motherfucker. He rarely, like, he started moving lately. Like, he was still, even though he took out Whitebeard and got his fruit power and all that, right? It was still an advantageous time to do so. He didn't like, he was keeping an eye out for the darkness fruit and all that, but like he wasn't moving until he had like he found let somebody else do the work for him. Which also is kind of like a to have him as a different like a counterpoint to Luffy because that's not kind of how Luffy would go about doing things. So yeah, I mean that's yeah, that's what like. I know that Law gave Kid one from Wano, right? But I don't know if Kid gave him one from Whole Cake or if Law has the one from Zhao. Now I could see him doing that because he has Beppo, and Beppo might have told him about it. So that's not impossible for me. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good chapter. We got a little bit on the Egghead Island stuff. Now everybody, or at least all the ones that are with Luffy, they all know that Bonnie's dad was Kuma. Oh, he was. Okay, you're right. I was thinking he was there, but I wasn't 100% sure. So yeah, he has at least two of them. And then because he maybe he doesn't have the whole Cake Island one because it seems like Blackbeard has sent Aokiji to Whole Cake to get the Punglyph and to get Pudding. It seems so she can read them. Yeah, I couldn't ever remember his real name, Kuzan. But so maybe Law has those two, and then in that case he has all three. And then it seemed like Kid was kind of hinting towards that he knew about uh, some way to get the other one. So maybe this is how I think, and this is all just an idea how I see this going. I'm not sure Blackbeard's going to kill Law. Maybe he'll beat him somehow. I don't know. Maybe he'll kidnap him because a lot of people think that's a possibility. So because everything it seems like it's not that Luffy already doesn't have enough reason to want to fight Blackbeard because obviously like Ace is more than enough, right? And also just the simple fact they're both headed going for the One Piece. But Blackbeard has kidnapped Kobe now, right? Um, and then if he either kills Law or kidnaps Law, then that is another strike against him, right? So I don't know if Oda's willing to kill Law because Law is so popular. Yeah, I mean that's gonna. I mean, also I wonder if this is gonna get like off screened, like the whole battle, or if we'll get like a whole chapter about the battle, like next time or down the road. That'd be another thing because Oda loves doing that because we kind of got partial battle when it was Blackbeard versus Ace, right? But like I'm saying, Oda's definitely setting up Luffy to hate Blackbeard more and more each day. But this is how I see it. Yeah, he's definitely ramping that up. I agree with that. I see it now. Maybe he's going to defeat Law, get the Poneglyph somehow. Don't know whether or not he's going to kill Law. These aren't things I'm willing to say. This is just kind of how I would lay out. Like this would be how the outline goes for me. Okay, so he does all this. He takes out Law. He gets the Poneglyphs or the rubbings or whatever. Yeah, some people I've seen that too, where they think Law is part. I'm not 100% sure Law is in Sword, because I think he's so mad about what happened to Curzon that he wouldn't really. That was kind of my feeling. That's why he wouldn't really want to get in bed with the world government or the Marines. Yeah, my thing on the fruit uh, mostly is that that it's a good fit for him because that's kind of the way he was fighting before. So if he just wanted to continue this, so he didn't have to learn or adjust so much, he like it actually benefits him. It'd be like if you were like a swordsman already and you got some sort of devil fruit that has something to do with swords. It would just make it a little bit better, a bit easy way to make you stronger. That's kind of how I see it. And I don't know if there's any more abilities besides just physical strength. Like maybe it strengthens his body too, so he can take more damage. Like these are other things. So it's like a Superman fruit maybe, without like flying and stuff like that, you know. But this is how I outline how things are going to go, in my opinion. I never really liked Burgess anyway. Yeah, he does seem kind of like a lame character. But so Blackbeard's gonna get the poneglyph thing rubbing somehow. Maybe even like the crew comes back and they decide like he's gonna kill Law, so we kind of cut a deal and give him the rubbings so that way Law doesn't get killed and Blackbeard takes him and goes out. There's also people think somebody else might show up, somebody from the world government, Sengoku, uh, the revolutionaries, something like that might show up to help Law. Because let's face it, a lot of people, this is a overwhelming opinion. Law's crew, Law himself is pretty OP, obviously, but his crew level is really low. And like, I don't even know if they could have competed with like Blackbeard crew pre-time skip. Now Blackbeard crew has gotten so much more. Yeah, that's definitely possible also. That would be what kind of where I'd go down the inroad to things. Where like I'm saying now, so let's go. I don't know how it's going to end, what's going to happen. I think Blackbeard's going to get the stuff, right? He's going to have them. Then the next step, he's going to get out of there. Because we always know Blackbeard he kind of only wants to accomplish his goals, and then he'll kind of skedaddle. Like, we know he's kind of a coward at heart, because he got what he wanted in Marineford, but he didn't want to fuck with Shanks when Shanks showed up. So he's like, I'm out. Whenever Aki Inu showed up, when he was trying to give over Bonnie, he said, fuck it, I'm out, right? So he always he'll fight, but like, once he kind of accomplishes his minor goal, he'll get the fuck out of there. So, while he might not completely destroy Law, he might do enough where either maybe one of, like, maybe Augur can warp out the Poneglyph's rubbings, and then Blackbeard's like, fuck it, I don't feel like fighting no more and taking any more chances, so we're out of here. So he heads on out. Then next, what I think, because Kid hinted at somebody or something, where like they might have a way of getting another one of the road Poneglyphs, or load, whatever, I don't know which translation is correct. Uh, yeah, well, that's where I'm going. So I think next, because he said, remember, in this chapter, Blackbeard says, like, I knew one of you three would show up here. So that probably means Blackbeard knows the other two places they could go from Wano. So I think after he gets this, he's going to head to the other one. That's when he's going to run into Kid. I don't think he's definitely going to run into Luffy next. He's going to be running to Kid, and he's going to take. Maybe Kid was able to find that dude and find something else, and he'll get that one from him, right? And then either Luffy will go to the same place Kid was, or he'll find another way to get it. So by this point, they'll all end up having Blackbeard and Luffy will both eventually have all the road poneglyphs they need. And Blackbeard will have Pudding, who's able to read them with her like eye, and then he's got Nico Robin, obviously. So that's when they will end up having to face off on the way to One Piece. Maybe even both will actually make it to the island, but Luffy's going to have to defeat him there at that point. And that's kind of where I see it going, like for the next. Now, how long it's going to take Oda to get there, I do not know. But those are the kind of the next things I see that are going to happen. Like, we'll probably get the main story with Luffy, but then we'll get like side shots off to Blackbeard taking out Kid next and trying to get to have all the poneglyphs that he needs. And we'll have Luffy, and I don't know, maybe there'll be a tie at this point, or maybe like Blackbeard might have a little advantage, like maybe he'll get them first, or maybe Luffy will have an advantage and have them first, right? Because we don't know exactly how they're going to find the last one. We know they have 3 of them. because Luffy and them all have, they have Zhao, they have the one from Whole Cake Island, they have the one from Wano, and we know there's one more, and supposedly maybe even Shanks has this one. Maybe that's where Luffy gets that before, you know, maybe he gets it from Shanks when him and Shanks end up meeting. Or he finds another way, or he finds this other guy that Kid was kind of referenced as the guy touched by fire or whatever he was talking about. So I think that's when, because it'll be like Law and Kid will both have had three or two or three, and but there'll be one that Blackbeard was missing, right? And in this point, he won't need to go after Luffy to have all of them, because they'll have, he has, like Law has, other ones Law has, Luffy has, I'm sure. Now, maybe Kid will get another one that Luffy doesn't have, so that's why Blackbeard will have to fight Kid, and because he'll take the next guess, will be this one. This will be the next place I'd go, right? Because maybe, but, because we know Luffy wants to go, like, to the hardest ones usually, but, like, Law and the smart ones, and Blackbeard would also be a person that want to go to the easiest place first, so that's probably why he ran into Law first. But then he'll be like, well, we got that one, so like maybe let's go take out Kid next, because maybe he has something we don't know about, right? Or he even knows that Kid had the Big Mom one, and he isn't sure he's got the Big Mom one yet, so he's going to go make sure. And that's kind of where he takes out Kid. Like, that's how I see it happening. I mean, it's possible it doesn't go that way. But that's kind of how I see it. Like, so that then they all kind of end up meeting up at the next place where they would meet up after all this. Because we also got to figure Blackbeard, if he was on Whitebeard's crew for all them years, he knows a lot more about the New World than Luffy does, or Kid, or Law. Like, the only people that would know more than Blackbeard would be, like, other Whitebeard pirates, and possibly, like, some of the other, like, pirates of the New World, like Emperor's crew, or, like, or obviously Rayleigh, or any other Rogers pirate that we might find out about, like, they might come into the story. Those are the ones I see. But yeah, that's kind of where I see that going. And that's overall how this is all going to kind of tie back in together. I'm still not 100% sure what's going to happen on Egghead Island. I'm assuming that Luffy and them are going to have to fight for Vegapunk or something, and hopefully, like, some of them will get up some power-ups or something like that. Overall, I thought it was a really good chapter. I wish there would be more about the Egghead Island, but I can't be mad because Oda threw this whole Law for Blackbeard shit in. And yeah, that's a possible, too. That, like, I just don't know how all of them are going to get there. Like, don't they need, they need the Poneglyphs to get there, right? And I just don't know if all of them are going to be able to get the Poneglyphs. I think we have to set up a structure where it's only going to be the tippy top. Like, I could see Law and Kid maybe getting there. Or maybe that's even where Blackbeard gets to, where they get to him. Like, they all meet up there. So, and then also, like, Kid, like, does he have anybody that we know how to read the Poneglyphs? Like, we got the theory that Pudding could do it, and we know Robin can do it. Is there anybody else? So that's a whole nother question. Well, he's got to kind of do. He's got to kind of ramp it up. Oh, okay. 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 My bad. I wasn't sure if they needed it. I wasn't sure if they needed them to get to that island, and then on that island they could find the Raftel, Laftel, whatever. So that's definitely a possibility. That could be where they end up having that. But that's just kind of how I see it progressing. I mean, and we might get some revolutionary stuff in there in the meantime. But I think the big revolutionary reveal shit probably might come after One Piece is found, when Luffy realizes he has to go back, like, and fight, you know, Marijoa or Red Line or whatever crazy theories out there for what they're going to have to do. I mean, Whitebeard already hinted at the big great war that's to come. Uh, and I'm sure Luffy is going to have that, because he also is going to want to protect places like Fishman Island, the BB stuff, you know, everything like that, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. I wonder who. I don't know who it could be. Like, it'd be a major death. Like, are we? We're all assuming. Are we all assuming that Big Mom and Kaido are dead, dead, or they were just defeated, defeated? That's still. I won't be 100% sure on. I mean, we could basically say they're dead, but you know, with Oda's history, it's kind of hard unless we see 100% dead, buried. You know, they had a funeral like with Whitebeard and shit. And then also, like, we gotta get the whole Buggy, Mihawk, and all that shit come back in there. Yeah, maybe they're just kind of trapped under the lava. Who knows? Maybe they'll come back at the very end and to join up with Luffy or something and fight the world government. Yeah, like, I mean, I think for the practicality of it, they're defeated. They're not going to be any more hindrance to Luffy. That's how I look at it. You know, they're not dead. They're not confirmed dead. I do think, however, um, I think Blackbeard, he's going to have to be killed. I don't see him taking a defeat and being just out of it, you know? Like, I think he might be the one that has to be killed to finally stop him. I could see he would be kind of scared because, like I said, I was talking about earlier, I don't know if you're in here. Like, I think at heart, Blackbeard's kind of like a coward and an opportunist, right? Like, I don't think he would go fight, would fight anybody on equal ground if he didn't have to. And I mean, Kaido was pretty overpowered. Like, Whitebeard came out looking super strong, but I think Whitebeard was way past his prime, and I think Kaido was still in his prime. So I'd honestly almost say Kaido, like one-on-one fight, has been the strongest character we've seen. You know, it's which makes sense. Like it would be like Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, right? Whitebeard's kind of weird because we already knew Whitebeard was sick and very old, and like he fought like so many people. It wasn't just a one-on-one fight. Um, but I mean, he still kept going and going and going until he just couldn't go no more. Kaido, I mean, he did fight a ton of people, but it was mainly like a 1v1 fight against Luffy for the most part. Anybody that really did anything severe to him. Big Mom, like, tanked most damage except when it was Kid versus Law fighting her. Um, I don't know if Luffy ever even really did any damage to Big Mom. Oh, there's another thing. I just thought about this. The whole plot with like the destroying the picture, that never seemed like that came to fruition. Because what I was kind of under the impression if that picture got destroyed or damaged or something, Big Mom would automatically just be able to. Maybe it was like an emotional thing. Like she seen the picture got hurt, so like she was had like a natural like hockey shield around her, and and like that emotion kind of made that drop. Maybe that was how they think they could have damaged her. So like maybe that's still a thing, but it didn't seem like it. Because sometimes there'll be like plot points they kind of get thrown out. So I don't know. So I don't know who'll be the next one to die, except for I think Blackbeard will have to die. I think if Blackbeard lives, it will be it won't make any sense. Like Blackbeard will have to die. I'm not saying Luffy's gonna have to kill him, but like maybe he'll even kill himself by trying to do something, and like it'll just be too much on him. Yeah. So yeah, like Kaido might have been the strongest one we've seen overall so far. And then we also got to wonder about Buggy. Is Blackbeard going to go after Buggy? Because I mean, he's an emperor too, but he doesn't seem like he's moving. But like, maybe Buggy and them will be moving in this way now. Because I mean, Crocodile, I think he would still has ambitions of maybe being Pirate King. I don't think Mihawk gives a fuck. Mihawk just kind of wants to chill. And he's only really kind of joined up with him so that he doesn't have to fight the entire Marines by himself. Because even though he's super strong, there's a ton of Marines. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of. So maybe like that, just that emotional point of like the picture getting damaged, kind of like made her mentally drop it for a second. I don't know. Yeah. Plus, we don't have one. No, we do. We have all the. Are we missing? I know we got Pluton and the one of them was a ship. Aren't we still missing knowing what one of the ancient weapons is? Right? I can't. Is it No, Neptune is that's Shirahoshi, right? The mermaid princess, right? And then the ones Uranus, is that the one we don't have? And then there's the ship, which that's the one that's at Wano. Is there three ancient weapons or four? I always get confused, but I think it's just three, right? Things like this you think I should know, but there's so much shit going on in One Piece. It's kind of like, and then Oda he won't talk about some shit for like fucking 10 years, and then we'll hear about it again, and you're like, what the fuck? Pluton is the ship, okay? Yeah, okay. Poseidon, Pluton, Uranus. True. Okay, gotcha. Vegapunk. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just Oda. Like, there's got to be certain things. Like, this is how I imagine. Oda's probably got like, and this might not be literally like on his wall. He might just have it in his head. He's got to have a checklist. He's like, okay, I've covered X, Y, Z, B. He's like, I got to talk about Vegapunk. We got to get a Vegapunk reveal. So, like, there's got to be things that he's got to be leading to the end game. He's like checking off things. He's like, I can't not reveal Vegapunk or explain more about Vegapunk. So he's like, okay, we can fit him in here. We're gonna reveal Bonnie and Kuma are related or whatever. So let's have her show up, and then we're kind of kill two birds with one stone. Bam. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe that'll be a thing too. Because Oda does, like I said, that's why I have that theory about Bonnie is because I just think Oda adds shit, or he wouldn't bring up something. Because look, if you thought 10 years ago, even when the did you think 10 years ago Luffy's fruit was not just the Gumma Gumma no Mi, and you would have thought it was like a mythical zone model sun god Nika? Like when would anybody have thought that? Nobody thought that. I don't give a shit if somebody says that they made that theory. Like nobody really would have believed something like that. Like we were pretty much established. This is what it's called, right? But then that also adds that Oda himself could always pull that shit out, which is kind of smart on him. He could retcon something because he could also always be like, well, it seemed like it was that fruit, but it turns out it wasn't. The only reason everybody said that was because they were hiding it, or it just kind of seemed like it had the same abilities. Plus, we also know not every devil fruit is in that book, right? I just with Vegapunk he can answer a lot of questions. We can learn how did he get that? How did he get the lasers in that and use other devil fruit abilities? How to create fake devil fruits? How does he feed devil fruits to inanimate objects? There's a lot of questions like Oda's got to have in his head. I can check off a lot of this shit. Vegapunk, like, could it have been later? Sure. Could he have done like Elbaf next, then Vegapunk? Possibly. But that's kind of how I see it. Like I can imagine Oda has like a checklist slash like a just like an outline of what he needs to cover or things he definitely wants to cover. So I think he just said, okay, I got these 10 things I need to cover next, so we're gonna go here. You know, that's why I would think Vegapunk come up here. Like I said, like I thought it was a good chapter. We learned a little bit more on Egghead Island, but like it's still kind of that half of the chapter was okay. The second half of the chapter was kind of like like super thumbs up, man. Like fucking Law of Blackbeard, like learning about the devil fruits that some of Blackbeard's commanders now have, you know. And it's sad. Poor Law's crew, man. They're not on the level of another Emperor's crew. Like I would say, Kid's crew's a little bit is better because I mean at least he has Killer, and Killer was a supernova. Law, like who's Law's second? Do you think Jean Bart is stronger or Beppo? Now of course people will bring up Beppo like if he was in Sulong form, but that's not something you can just get any day of the week. You know, it's got to be a specific time. You can't just turn that shit on. You know. Yeah, I just wonder if Oda's going to kind of interject. Remember when we were in Wano, he had a couple of chapters in a row, like about the Reverie or whatever. Like, is he going to have another chapter about Law next chapter, or is he going to just go straight back to Egghead Island and then maybe get us like little bits and pieces? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we just have kind of like a little interjection. Also, it's also got to be we some things we don't think about. Sometimes, and I would say Oda probably has a little more freedom than a lot of other mangakas. But I imagine they all got their editors. They're probably sometimes they're gonna whisper in his head like, "Hey, we can't go away from like Luffy and everybody for like month at a time. We need so if you want to do this too, we need to have like half a chapter about Luffy and half a chapter about Blackbeard. So that might be also another thing we have to think about how it's kind of plotted out. You know what I'm saying? Because this, I don't know if it's a downfall. It's what makes One Piece good, but it also makes One Piece hard. Is that Oda has built this world out so much with so many characters that we care about and want to know more about. You know what I'm saying? But he can't focus on them enough. Like you could make a manga just about like some of the off characters. If they made a manga about if Law was a main Law could be a main character in a manga. Fucking Crocodile could be like a main character in a manga. Like a ton of these people, Zoro, like a lot of these people. Yeah, because as we all know, every top tier emperor has like really strong crews, right? Like you've seen the top tier dudes from Kaido's crew, right? Like you got to get past after the what are the no, he even had the Toby Ropo. I think them are better than anybody on Law's crew. That's a good idea. They should. Uh, Maybe I bet you know what I think. Once One Piece is finally done, I could definitely see them doing some shit like that where they split it off more. Like either like explain shit that he didn't see on screen, or like if they live, maybe post or whatever. And we know Big Mom had a pretty vast crew because like she has her top three, with Katakuri, Cracker, and the girl Smoothie, right? But then even under them, Oven's pretty strong, and of course Luffy. Well, even if you think about it, like if we add in, although I know Luffy doesn't necessarily count them, the whole Straw Hat Grand Fleet, which is kind of attributed to him, like there's some strong people on that too, right? You got to think about there's the Giants, there's fuck. The Columbus dude has a big fleet, Orlumbus. Um, Bartholomew, the dude that could turn into different, had the other alter ego. I can't think of his name. Like, there's some pretty strong people there, right? Yeah, they could also do like that. What they did those that series of books about Ace. They could do that on other characters. Like I think it's a benefit and it's a detriment to Oda. He just doesn't have enough time, and that might be why One Piece is stretched as long as it has. Because like I heard how true this is, I don't know, but like he kind of created the supernovas. Like that wasn't necessarily something 100% planned out. But then a lot of them got to be popular, so then he had to figure a way how to add them back into the story. So like, or people like Rayleigh, like some of these people you would think could have been a one-off, but they were so popular. I mean, and then and you've even got characters that like he hasn't brought back, like what was his Gin or Jen or whatever, uh, from back when at the Barati arc, people always talk about they'd want him to show back up, right? And then a lot of them haven't shown back up. Yeah, it's definitely OP so far. I think maybe also we're hinting at maybe somebody with strong enough hockey would be able to break through it eventually. Uh, and not to say Odin didn't have a strong hockey, but we also know there's even different levels or mastery of it. You know what I'm saying? Say somebody like Roger could have broke through it or Rayleigh, but not Odin. So I think that's what Laws Luke. That's why they named Buggy an emperor and didn't name like Kid or Law an emperor, right? Because Kid and Law all have the same bounties as Luffy right now, But then Luffy also has, and we didn't get a mention if Killer got a bounty raise, but we know Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, they all have over 1 billion bounty on each one of them. Plus Nico Robin's way up there also. You know, we don't know if Beppo has like a weird bounty. I can't. Didn't he have like a weird bounty like Chopper, where it's like, you know, and we all know that bounty's not 100% equates to strength or power level, but it's also it's a threat level by the world government. If they're not seeing Beppo as like a powerful, if he's seeing him as a pet or not a powerful thing, that's not going to make them say Law should be an emperor. So I don't know. And then I mean, and Law even mentioned that Blackbeard's crew's bounties have gone up, possibly with their devil fruits, possibly being associated with Blackbeard, possibly doing shit. So that also lends credence to, we know Blackbeard's got, plus he got all them level 6 prisoners. They were already established, with Basco Shot, Sam Wolf, and they got, what's his damn name? The swords guy. I can't think of his name. He was like the second warden or whatever, like the junior warden of Impel Down. I can't remember all these damn names. There's so many fucking names in One Piece to remember. It's ridiculous. So, like, that also leads that Blackbeard has a pretty overpowerful crew. Same thing with Shanks. Like, Whitebeard had a super powerful crew. Um, but Whitebeard's crew was a lot bigger than Shanks's also. But I think Shanks is similar to Luffy's, where it's, although like Shanks has more fodder type people on his crew, it's like Luffy has like always the best of his best. That's kind of similar to, I think, Blackbeard's style too, right? Blackbeard only wants the best of the best in its main crew. Although now I'm assuming Blackbeard has, because what he had built up to like 10 Titanic captains or whatever it's called, or a 9 or how many it is. So like I imagine each of them has like a crew, and more like a, and then obviously like with Luffy, you could never had Luffy have like a crew with like 20 or some characters on it. It would be just too hard to write for. So Luffy was always going to have a kind of a small core group. Like I never expect Luffy to have like 30 people on his ship, right? It did seem like Roger had more people on his ship, but then only so many of them are going to get the main thing. But he could do that with like side characters, like with Shanks and stuff. So he doesn't have to flesh everybody out so much, like he has to do with Luffy and the Straw Hats. So that's kind of how I see that going. And then, of course, I would imagine Eam and the world government, the Gurusai, all of them are going to be like the final villain thing, at the very, very end. So while we got it hinted at, like, or do people think he's going to have to fight them before he gets to One Piece? I just don't think that makes sense. He's going to, Luffy, how many people here still agree with this? That Luffy's going to have to get the One Piece before he has the final big giant battle that Whitebeard hinted, like basically against the world government, Eam, and the Gurusai type people. Or do you think he's going to have that battle before he gets the One Piece? I think that it makes more sense that he's going to have to get the One Piece first, and that's when he's going to have the battle is afterwards. Like logically to me that seems so. Like you think originally like the last chapter of One Piece would be Luffy getting, and maybe that was Oda's original plan, but he's spread the lore out so much, and Rayleigh even hinted at it. When you find out the true story, then you're going to have to decide what to do, you know? And then also, it also comes into this other dream or whatever, or Luffy's ambition that we don't know about, that's been kind of off-screened, that like they know about, but we don't know about yet. So that also might be something that's played into it, because originally the only dream we knew about Luffy wants to be the Pirate King. We didn't know there was anything more than that. Now we do know there is something more than that, even though we don't know exactly what that is. So that might also play another role in why it's going to have to carry on past that. I just hope it doesn't like. Hopefully Oda doesn't go like, okay, One Piece is over. Now we're going to have One Piece world government or something, or One Piece like AE after or One Piece Pirate King, where he like starts a whole nother manga. I just hope that all that gets finished in One Piece overall. I hope it doesn't get split up into something else, or like be like a side. Like I know it's gonna happen. It's kind of, it's kind of bound to happen. Like Oda's kind of done some of the stuff where he had like these like split off, like where they were doing like the other like Kid Chopper and something like, yeah, exactly, like One Piece Z, one, like I said, that's why I say One Piece Pirate King, like him after the Pirate King, what he does. So, but like I bet, like Naruto, now there's Boruto, like, and I think Kishimoto has some influence, but he's not writing it, I don't think. So, and I don't know, like I'm sure Oda has like a certain amount of ownership to One Piece and all that stuff, but I don't know how it works in Japan about like the properties, like does Shonen Jump own, like, so like say even if Oda didn't want X, Y, or Z to happen, would Shonen Jump be able to say, well, we own half of One Piece name, or I don't know, I'm just speculating here, and then they're like, people still love One Piece, it's so popular, because we also got to realize, like Shonen Jump, like I don't really keep up with any other mangas that much anymore, but like, I know they got like My Hero Academia, Black Clover, I think there's another one. Is Jujutsu Kaisen, is that in Shonen Jump? But like they might be desperate for content, or I know they have like other, maybe not even directly in Shonen Jump, but they and everybody around the world is guilty of this. Like you got to think how many things have been like rebooted, or like new original ideas aren't something that always sells. So if you got an established product, they might take that and use it. So like I definitely, once One Piece is over, I bet you there's more One Piece. I just don't know how true. I just don't know if Oda will be 100% the one doing it at that point. Like license off something, because you can do that too. So I'm just really curious how all that's going to come out. If after One Piece, I just hope for sure by the end of One Piece we get what Oda wanted. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think about what they do. Dragon Ball Kai, not Kai. Super. Yeah, that was the one with where he made Goku a kid again, and they went into outer space. Like I don't think that was necessarily. I know they got Super now. That seems like that kind of, to me, that reminds me more of. More of like the original, like the Dragon Ball Z stuff. But like I don't know. If he had that idea in mind when he was writing Dragon Ball GT, yeah, my bad, that's the one. Like that one's the one that like nobody likes and doesn't have any association, as far as I know, with who wrote Dragon Ball? Toriyama, sorry. So like I just hope they don't bastardize One Piece too much, but it's such a valuable property like Dragon Ball, you know what I'm saying? And Naruto, I mean, look, they're even bringing back Bleach to finish it off, in the anime, right? And while Bleach was way up there at certain points, I don't think Bleach was ever, at least not in Japan, it was never on the same level as Dragon Ball or One Piece. Maybe even not on the same level as Naruto. You always had the big three debate and all that shit, right? I think Oda will. I mean, there's also a rumor supposedly Oda has had the idea for the end of One Piece in mind for a long time. Uh, Hopefully Oda, like hopefully what happened to poor the dude that did Berserk doesn't happen to Oda or anything. Like I hope Oda gets to finish it, uh, and hopefully he doesn't have any issues like the Hunter x Hunter guy. Hunter x Hunter's supposed to come back this week or next week too, but I don't know. I lost interest in it whenever it's been on such a long break, and when they did the whole like on the voyage to the like Black Dark Continent or whatever, it got so boring because it became like a political like thriller or some shit. It wasn't the same. Gon's not the main character anymore. Kurapika is like the only one that's still there, you know. So I kind of like he changed. Like he might as well just start a whole new manga instead of calling it Hunter x Hunter. What do you think he messed up on Wano? What was your issues with Wano? I mean, at times I thought it was kind of boring. You just kind of feel it kind of came out of nowhere that Luffy had this entire different fruit or something. I can see that. Yeah, Momo is always going to kind of be that way, though. I don't know. Like maybe that's going to change down the road. I don't. I think this would be my main issue with Oda. I think he's. I think he just made the world too big. You know. So like he added way 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 more than he ever needed. Right. If Luffy had just went to all these different little islands, accomplished his little goals at the time, maybe added in a little bit of lore about the world government, some people backstory, stuff like that, but not made it so grandiose where there's like you said, there could almost be separate mangas about a lot of different people. He could make a manga just about the Revolutionary Army, just a manga about law, just a manga about like the fucking Fishman Island. Like there's so much shit he could do. It's just he's like gotten way too big. Yeah, I agree with you. I think at the end of the day, too, that is another thing. Um, it does seem like sometimes Oda gets himself like backed into a corner, and he kind of just goes with the old faithful. Like if Luffy's gonna beat you, it's gonna be with like a pistol, like not a shooting pistol, but like a, you know. Yeah, I think he wasted a lot of that on that other shit where like he turned into like Bugs Bunny and the fucking like all that other stuff. It's just kind of hard, Luffy. It's kind of hard. Yeah, that's been the case for a long time. And that was also I think that comes out from kind of like I said, Oda creating so many good characters. I think that adds to like why people want all these characters to join up with him. I'm trying to think like I think Luffy has a pretty good like type of crew. Like he's got a swordsman, he's got a cyborg, he's got a skeleton, he's got a fishman now. He's got like the only thing I can think. Yeah, you're pretty much. I'm sorry, I'm so biased here, but I mean it's hard because like my favorite thing. So I see what you're saying 100%. I think Oda just got I think everything grew too big, and that happens to a lot of people. Like I don't know if any of y'all watch like Game of Thrones or read the books or anything like that. I think that's another thing too. Like George R. R. Martin, he's probably never going to finish the books. Like
There's no way. Like it's not gonna happen. I think he kind of got like it got way beyond. So he knows now he can't live up to nothing. So and then of course the show ending was kind of jumped, but like that's a whole nother thing. But like I think that's part of it, and I don't know how much of that's Oda's fault versus how much. Because I also heard this happen with Toriyama too. Like he wanted to end like Dragon Ball and like Dragon Ball Z like several times, but they kept going. Like I don't know if he had Dragon Ball Z in mind after Dragon Ball was over, but I do know like he was wanting to end it after like either the Cell arc or maybe even after the Frieza arc. But because it was so popular and making so much money, he kind of got. Yeah, I hope not. Now, I will argue there were some good things in season 8, like the Battle of the Bastards, some of the like other stuff. To me, like it was the last like few episodes, like the beginning, some of the there was little threads of good stuff in there, but like the overall ending, it did kind of ruin the whole thing though. So that I think like while Oda like I think maybe his imagination ran too wild, so we'll put some of that blame on that. Um, and then also, but also I bet you Shonen Jump. Yeah, yeah. I didn't really like the whole. I'm not trying to turn this into a Game of Thrones thing, but like I didn't like the whole Danny, Jon Snow, and all that shit either. So I'm gonna stand for Ygritte and Jon Snow should have been together. I don't give a fuck. That's my whole thing. Like I thought they were the perfect couple. Should never have ended. But you know that's my headcanon. But like they're I don't know if you know they're going to be making a Game of Thrones spinoff with Jon Snow now. Or I guess Aegon Targaryen or whatever his real name is. I'm assuming he'll still go by Jon Snow. I don't know. So I don't know how that's going to go. I'm kind of curious about that. And I know what's his damn name? The dude that played him's coming back and everything. So I'm assuming it's going to be after. It's not going to be like a prequel. Like if they did a prequel, it wouldn't make no sense. It would just be basically about the Starks. Yeah, I'll tell you what. The I don't know if you watched the House of the Dragon. Have you watched any of that? Okay, well I won't say anything spoilery in case you ever want to see it. All I will say about it, and this isn't really spoilery, it kind of like I remember in Game of Thrones, like I liked a lot of the characters sooner. It seemed like I got more in tune with them sooner, and like either liked or hated. Like you know Joffrey, like you could already hate Joffrey like after the first one or two times you met him. I liked I liked Jon Snow. I like Ned Stark. I liked you didn't like Jamie and what's her face. I liked Tyrion like right away. People like that, right? And not to say that people didn't change one way or the other as it went along, because that was also good, right? But in House of Dragons, it takes you a little bit longer to really dislike somebody or really like somebody. Like I think they had a better chemistry with the characters and actors in the first season of Game of Thrones than they did House of the Dragon. And then also another thing that throws my friend really didn't like this in House of the Dragon. They do a lot of time jumps. Like it'll start when people are young, and then like the next episode it'll jump 10 years. But in the last I think next this week is going to be the final episode. So that would actually be good. Like if you want to watch it like after this next week. I don't know how they do it over there in the UK and stuff. Like here you got like HBO. I don't know what it comes on, but there's like an app like so you could always watch all of them after it's over and then cancel it or whatever. Yeah, I read all the original Dragon Game of Thrones books, the Fire and Ice series. I didn't read this one that this show is based off of. They're saying they're kind of twisting it a little bit with how things are because I watched, like I said, I think we talked about this last time, the Emergency Awesome guy, like how the book is written from like one perspective, but then they're saying that perspective may not have been the full truth. So that's kind of how they're going in the show, is they're kind of like intermingling them both. Um, I would say overall my biggest argument with the House of the Dragon is it's really slow for like the first like 4 or 5 episodes, and it has some good moments here and there in those. Don't get me wrong, and you do start to like some of the characters, but like towards the last few episodes, like the last like few of them, yeah. That's kind of what I gathered. And then this one's kind of supposedly like say something in that they'll say in this is more of a true accounting or something like that. Because there's certain things in this that wouldn't be in the history book because it's like moments between like the king and his daughter or whatever. So, but my friend doesn't like it, but I kind of like it. It's like I said, it's just kind of get a slow start. I don't know how the books are, but it takes a while to get into like the actual Dance of the Dragons, and that's probably not going to really start until the next season. That would be the only downside. So I think if you could watch all the episodes, kind of like binge them or something, like over a weekend or something, I think it would be better. That's the only downside. I think it really hurts like the One Piece anime too, because like watching it week to week is kind of the pacing's off. But if you watched it or read it, because I remember when I got back into One Piece and I was going to catch up, but I started over, so I read up, and then it was at a good point where it's like, man, I really want to see what happens next. And you have to wait. It sucks. And I know that's kind of just how everything's kind of become out in our modern day. We don't have that because it used to always be that way. You'd have to wait. But yeah, I mean, if you like Game of Thrones and you read the book, I definitely say give it a shot. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I kind of got off on a tangent talking about Game of Thrones, but yeah, I thought this chapter was good. I kind of like where Oda's going. Hopefully, we'll get, hopefully we'll stay strong with this, and Oda doesn't kind of fuck us over and not reveal shit. I just hope that Oda picks up the pace. Hopefully, he doesn't keep doing the whole like, um, hopefully he doesn't keep doing the whole give us some information and not reveal it way too late. Like I want some like we're at the point of One Piece where we got to answer some of these fucking questions we've had like for years. We need to meet Vegapunk soon and figure everything out. We don't need to be like I don't need to be 2 years from now and we're still on Egghead Island, like some shit like that. Like I can't imagine Egghead Island's gonna be on the same level of a Wano where it took like what 2.5 years to get complete. That would be my main argument with like Wano. I figure like he stretched Wano out way longer than it needed to be stretched. That was my biggest argument with Wano. Wano lasted probably 6 months longer than it needed to. That's how I see it. Unless anybody's got any final thoughts or anything they want to bring up on here, I'll probably call it. I'm getting thirsty. I didn't bring nothing up here to drink. I drink out of some of my old soda I had. All right, man. I appreciate y'all stopping by and chit chatting and all that good shit. I did get a job. I got to start. I don't know how everything's going to work after that because I got to do training for like so many weeks. But then after that, like the schedule I get is like I get like there's like a 10-hour block, and I have to work like a certain amount of time during that time. So I don't know how much time I'll have. But I still get 2 days off and stuff like that, so maybe I'll do like a review and all that afterwards and stuff like that. I'm probably gonna be okay as long as this job works out. I had to sell some stuff, so I probably have enough money to cover everything until I get paid. But like nothing's a guarantee. But yeah, so hopefully all that's going better, and I can make it enough to get through to finally get all my lawsuit shit settled. That's what's been holding me back the most, and then after that we'll figure out shit. It's like I don't know if I'll have as much time to make videos or even stream or anything like that. So I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me.
I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane. Making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains. I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things. Gonna make a fucking name, I just wanna be famous.